Over the past few weeks, something very strange has been happening on the YouTube channel TheApples. At the same exact time that public controversy surrounding Kyle Appleford has intensified, the channel has actually been gaining thousands of new subscribers. And now, all across YouTube comments, Reddit threads, Facebook groups, TikTok clips, and reaction channels, viewers are asking the same question. Where are the new subscribers coming from? And did the Apples channel actually buy subscribers? Before revealing what we found, let's take a few minutes to look at some of the comments. One YouTuber commented, "Did anyone else notice Jenny's channel suddenly gained a few thousand subs? It's at 205,000 now, but it was around 202, if not 201,000 recently. Do we think he bought or got fake subs to improve the standing of the channel?" Another comment said, "He is becoming very popular these days." And another commenter states, "There is no way his subs are going up naturally when he hardly posts, and when he does, it's the crappiest quality. It's a little too suspicious for my liking." And another commenter on Kyle's own page asked, "You have so many bot subs here, it's insane. Did Britt tell you to buy subs? Or did you come up with that all on your own?" Some people think the growth is organic and is driven by the drama and the controversy. Others believe something feels off. And in today's video, we're going to break down the actual evidence, the psychology behind controversy-driven growth, how YouTube's algorithm works during public backlash events, and whether there is any real evidence suggesting artificial subscriber growth. And before we begin, as always, I want to make something absolutely clear to you. This video is not about accusing anyone of any wrongdoing. And honestly, the conclusion that we arrived at, after looking at all of this, may surprise people on both sides of the conversation. There is currently no public evidence confirming that subscribers were purchased or artificially inflated. This video is an analysis of publicly observable patterns, audience behavior, platform mechanics, and the internet reaction surrounding the recent growth of the Apples channel. In just the last few weeks, the subscriber count on the Apples channel has jumped from 2,000 to 5,000. Now, I'm sure you might be wondering if he just happened to become extra interesting and popular and adorable and everyone just wanted to suddenly watch him. Well, I know that might sound convincing to some of you. That really wasn't the case. The reason for the 3,000 subscriber jump was something different entirely. The answer really comes down to timing. Before the announcement of the engagement, the growth timeline was very low or even stagnant. There was a moderate increase in growth as Britt was introduced more on the channel and as people's curiosity peaked. So what really happened then? Well, discussions surrounding Kyle's personal life, the wedding news, the proposal timeline, the evolution of the channel away from its original identity, and the emotional response from longtime viewers has spread rapidly across multiple platforms. Curiosity and controversy drove traffic, and that translated to new subscribers. A lot of people expected public criticism to damage growth, not accelerate it. So naturally, comments began appearing everywhere saying things like, "How is he gaining subscribers right now? There's no way that this are real, and this feels artificial." And to be fair, when people see rapid growth during periods of controversy, suspicion does generally follow that. But once we started examining how controversy-driven channels actually behave on YouTube, a very different picture started emerging. Because what we may be witnessing here is not necessarily artificial growth. It might actually be something that the internet has become very good at creating: monitoring subscribers. This is one of the most fascinating parts of the entire story. In the modern social media era, people don't just subscribe to people that they support. Sometimes they subscribe because they disagree. Sometimes they subscribe because they are emotionally invested. And sometimes they subscribe because they feel betrayed. And sometimes they subscribe because they simply do not want to miss what happens next. The phenomenon is often referred to as monitoring or hate following. And ironically, controversy can sometimes create stronger audience engagement than positivity ever could. Think about it this way. If someone feels emotionally connected to the original legacy of a channel, especially one tied to grief, loss, illness, or family struggles, they may become deeply invested in the future direction of the channel. Some subscribers stay subscribed because they support the creator. Some subscribers stay subscribed because they oppose the creator. And both groups continue feeding engagement into the same system. And this is extremely important to understand because YouTube's algorithm does not fully distinguish between positive engagement and negative engagement. A comment is still a comment, a click is still a click, and engagement is still engagement. And watch time, well, it's still watch time. Which means outrage itself can become algorithmically valuable. And according to my investigative report, this appears to be the strongest explanation for what is going on with the Apple's channel subscriber count right now. The report specifically points to a massive increase in emotionally charged engagement across Reddit, TikTok, Facebook, reaction channels, and YouTube comments. In other words, the backlash itself may be pushing the channel deeper into the algorithm. And honestly, I think that's a twist that most people didn't expect. Authentic subscribers present on YouTube channels with a high volume of comments compared to views, organic human conversations, external traffic, and the Apples channel has no obvious signs of bot activity based on public data. Now, this brings us to the biggest question in the entire investigation. If subscribers were being artificially purchased or botted, what patterns would investigators expect to find? According to platform analysts, artificial campaigns have several recognizable characteristics. Videos receiving almost no comments despite a huge number of views. Huge increases in subscriber count without matching engagement. Massive overnight subscriber spikes with no correspondent news event. Repetitive bot comments. Or subscriber purges, where YouTube later removes large swarms of fake accounts. But according to this report, those patterns are not strongly reflected here. Instead, the channel is experiencing extremely active engagement. The comments are detailed, emotionally specific, and context heavy, and directly tied to the ongoing controversy. This is far more consistent with outrage versus traditional bot activity. The report also notes that public data limitations make it nearly impossible to conclusively prove artificial growth without access to internal YouTube analytics. Because there's a huge difference between saying this feels emotionally suspicious versus there is evidence of bot or paid activity here in terms of fake subscribers. The Apples channel has seen steady upward trend, high comment activity, context-specific discussions, and real engagement. The complete opposite of typical fake growth. At least based on the current observable evidence, this report concludes that there is no concrete proof of paid subscribers. Instead, the strongest evidence points towards real people participating in a very polarized online event centered around the betrayal of Jenny's legacy, the timeline of the new relationship, using a legacy channel for profit, curiosity about what happens next, and supporting Kyle against haters. And honestly, that may be even more powerful than bots, because human controversy spreads incredibly fast online. And a gain of 2,000 to 5,000 subscribers during a major controversy is well within the normal range for influencers in the drama, lifestyle, and family vlogging space. Are you curious how the algorithm might be rewarding the drama? Well, this may be the most important part of this video, because a lot of viewers, they seem to believe that backlash hurts creators automatically. But on modern platforms, well, that's not always true. In fact, conflict and controversy can sometimes supercharge visibility. When audiences become emotionally activated, several things tend to happen all at once. People comment more frequently, they share clips, they argue in the comments. Reaction channels begin covering the story. Videos spread context to entirely new audiences, and Reddit threads send traffic back to the main channel. And suddenly, YouTube's algorithm is showing massive traffic back to the creator. Not necessarily positive activity, but activity nonetheless. And according to the report, this seems to line up very closely with the timing of the current event which led to the spike. The controversy itself may be a traffic engine, which means that, well, something deeply ironic may be happening right now. Some of the very people which are most critical to the channel may be helping to increase its visibility, not intentionally, but algorithmically. And whether people like that reality or not, it's just how modern engagement algorithms work these days. The report also points out that channels centered around grief, emotional storytelling, family narratives, and personal transformation often experience secondary audience waves during periods of public conflict, especially when viewers feel emotionally attached to the original story. And that emotional attachment creates what psychologists refer to as parasocial attachment and parasocial investment. People begin feeling personally connected to creators and narratives they have been following for years. And when the story changes direction, viewers don't simply disengage, they often become more emotionally invested. Sometimes positively, sometimes negatively, but either way, engagement intensifies. And honestly, I think this is where the conversation becomes much bigger than subscriber counts. Because underneath all of this debate is a deeper internet phenomenon that we are seeing more of. What happens when a legacy channel changes identity? What happens when audiences who were originally subscribed for one emotional journey suddenly feel like the story has shifted into something entirely different? And what happens when millions of emotionally invested viewers begin processing that transformation publicly and in real time? That appears to be what we're witnessing here. Not simply a subscriber spike, but a collision between grief, parasocial attachment, audience ownership, internet outrage, curiosity, morality, and algorithmic amplification. So, according to the evidence in this investigation, the most likely answer associated with the increased subscriber count isn't botting, but the controversy itself. We are witnessing a very important modern internet phenomenon. People subscribing, not necessarily because they support, but because they feel emotionally compelled to see what happens next in the story. Let me know what you think in the comments. I appreciate you watching this video. And as always, I will see you in the next. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the subject, please subscribe. I have many more to come.